Hello everybody and welcome to another movie review vlog. And yes, I know it's not the usual green screen again this time around, and I do apologize for that. And that's mostly because of a few reasons. Quick update, I just want to let you all know I appreciate all the support and the views and the likes that you guys are giving me. It's just that for the last month or so after summer, I went back to the fall semester for college, when it comes to focusing on assignments, homework, projects, and everything else along those lines. And I do want to say that it's better to focus more on your education rather than your videos. And when you do have time to make these videos, you might as well get them around, or when you're bored. And that's what I'm going to do today. And that's what I've been doing for the last few months. There has been a lack of uploads when it comes to reviews, but I am making it up with a few memes here and there every other week. Mostly just to increase my creativity when it comes to the editing, video tutorials, and everything else on my Adobe programs. But at the same time, I do try my best, and I know YouTube values consistency and all those other things. But at the same time, I also just took a break altogether, mostly because, apart from the schoolwork, it's also because of the burnout and everything else. So I do apologize for that, but now I've found a groove to actually work my way into making videos and editing them in and uploading them. Hopefully, in due time, I will get it back into that regular track, along with keeping up with my schoolwork. So just want to get that out of the way. Now, as for the review for today, Venom, the big hit that everyone's talking about. And it's pretty much, this is actually not exactly a Marvel Studios movie. This is still more or less the vestiges of what's left of Sony pictures when it comes to making their own Marvel movies. And it clearly shows in this one. And oh man, I wouldn't say it wasn't that bad. Surprisingly enough, I did find it quite entertaining in some parts of the movie. Not all of it, but it was actually quite entertaining. Some good scenes, but a lot of it was bad. I would have to say, what do I have to say? Maybe 75-25 or 70% bad and 30% good. Now, as for the 30% good, there was some really interesting stuff I liked about this. At first, I had my doubts about Tom Hardy. He was kind of a hit or miss sometimes throughout the movie as the Eddie Brock character, but he does play up the whole self-absorbed, selfish, and manipulative person, but he also acts too much like a good guy, if you ask me. And that's not the Eddie Brock character that I know when it comes to the Spider-Man comic books. As for the special effects itself, when it comes to Venom, they did really improve from the trailer that I saw a few months back. And let me tell you something, they did a lot of great work with the CG work for the symbiote, especially with Venom. And I did enjoy a lot of the action scenes and him hitting up a lot of the random dudes and crawling around all around San Francisco, and it was actually quite entertaining. Now, as for the bad stuff, there was a lot of bad stuff, which I did not like. For one thing, there was a lot of forced comedy, which pretty much 2/3 of the time I just didn't really laugh at. There were some funny scenes, mostly through the dialogue, but it wasn't really that good with all the other comedy. As well, and speaking of the ungood stuff, there's also the villains in here as well. Well, surprisingly enough, there was like two different sets of villains. You have your stereotypical billionaire who wants to rule the world or control it or something else along those lines, and his only weapon is pretty much a bunch of random goons. And then you got this other random symbiote who also wants revenge on Venom for some particular reason, but they're not really clear on it. It's just kind of forced through the narration as to why. And it was pretty lame, if you ask me. There was a lot of muddled near the third act of the ending where both of the symbiotes were just attacking each other. And it just looked like a huge glob of a mess, kind of like just meshing together like Play-Doh or something, or slime or whatever else they throw in there. A lot to say, characters were also uninteresting. Then there was also the Stan Lee cameo, which I thought was pretty much one of the weakest ones I've seen in all of the Marvel movies. And that's coming a lot from me. And there was also this really forced end credit scene where they were really hamming up a possible sequel, depending on how well this movie does at the box office, where they pretty much throw out some obvious signs and Easter eggs of a possible villain for Venom Part 2, if that ever happens, which I felt really forced. And the character that they had cameoing in the end credits, it was just absolutely one of the funniest things I've ever seen. If you guys haven't seen the end credits yet for Venom, I highly recommend go seeing the movie. Mostly at a matinee price, but if it's just so you don't feel ripped off. But as for how it stands, I would have to say that this movie had some good stuff, a little bit of good stuff, but a lot of it was pretty bad. The music was also kind of a garbage at times, where it was just like replaying the same beats over and over again, as well as a lot of special effects. A lot of the, outside of the symbiote special effects, there was a lot of other side special effects, which felt like they had a lot of stock footage, especially with the sounds, because I felt like as if there was a Wilhelm scream somewhere in the middle. But as it stands, I would have to say, is it one of the worst Spider-Man related movies of all time? No, not exactly. I mean, we still have Amazing Spider-Man 2, and of course Spider-Man 3, but this Venom character is definitely a step up from the Topher Grace that we got from Spider-Man 3, I can tell you that much. But as it stands right now, I would have to give this Venom movie a solid 2 out of 5 stars. And that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoy, and maybe next time around, maybe in the next review or the review after, I'll probably get back to the old green screens setting in my mini studio. But until then, if you guys like what you see, feel free to like, subscribe, and all that other fun junk. And if you guys have any requests out there for any movies for me to vlog out there, feel free to hit me up on my Patreon account for the low price of $1 a month to let me know what movie I should see next, whether it be past or present or maybe in the future. Who knows? Just for $1. Yeah, hopefully I'll get back to the green screen setting. But until then, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.